So, for years now, crypto has been in this huge fight for its very future. But here's the thing that a lot of people miss. It's not just one battle. It's actually a two-front war. On one side, you have this very public, very loud fight for legitimacy and clear rules. And on the other, there's this quiet, almost invisible battle over the core principle of crypto itself, privacy. And that's really the big question we're tackling here, right? As these walls start to close in, is the industry being backed into a corner, forced to make an impossible choice? Can crypto get that mainstream acceptance it's been chasing without giving up the very privacy that was supposed to be the whole point? That's the tension we're going to unpack. All right, let's dive into that first front, the loud, dramatic, high-stakes political fight for some kind of regulatory clarity over in the United States. This was supposed to be crypto's big coming-out party in Washington. You know, for the industry, the holy grail was this piece of legislation called the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, or just the Clarity Act. And the goal? Well, it was simple on the surface, but honestly, it was revolutionary. It was designed to finally end this endless turf war between the SEC and the CFTC over who gets to be a crypto cop. For years, the industry has been living under this constant dark cloud, the threat of lawsuits from an SEC that basically claims everything is a security. This bill was supposed to be the answer. Okay, so everybody had January 15th marked down. This was supposed to be the day, a historic moment. But then, in this absolutely shocking 72-hour period, the whole thing just imploded. It all started with this massive 278-page amendment that got dropped late on a Monday night. By Wednesday, crypto's biggest player, Coinbase, publicly killed it, and by Thursday, the vote was officially off the table. So what on earth happened? To really get what was on the line here, you just have to look at these two realities. On the one hand, you've got the status quo, total regulatory chaos where the SEC can sue basically anyone at any time, which just suffocates innovation. But on the other hand, you had the dream of the Clarity Act, a clear, simple test. If a project was decentralized enough, it's a commodity. It gets regulated by the CFTC with clear rules. This was the dream scenario. But that dream, yeah, it turned into a complete nightmare. When the lawyers for all the big crypto companies started digging into that massive late-night amendment, they realized this wasn't just a simple tweak. Nope, this thing was a total rewrite, and it was stuffed with what everyone started calling poison pills, provisions so toxic they would basically cripple the very industry they were pretending to help. So the first poison pill was, believe it or not, a ban on innovation. It was basically a de facto ban on tokenized equities. I mean, just think about that for a second. One of the biggest, most exciting ideas in all of crypto is tokenizing real-world assets, putting stocks and bonds on a blockchain to make markets work better. This bill would have made that illegal. It would have banned the future before it even got here. Next up, poison pill number 2. And this one, this was just a straight-up gift to the big banks. It would have made it illegal for crypto platforms to offer any kind of yield on stablecoins. And why would they do that? Simple. The banks absolutely hate that you can earn 4 or 5% on a stablecoin when they're offering you, 0.01% on a savings account? It was, as Coinbase's CEO put it, just an attempt by the banks to have Congress ban their competition. And then there was the last one. And honestly, this might have been the most poisonous of them all, because it went right for the heart of decentralized finance, or DeFi. This new language would force platforms to collect all of your personal info, your name, your address, even your social security number, just to connect a wallet. I mean, that completely guts the entire point of DeFi, which is supposed to be anonymous and permissionless. It basically turns DeFi into CeFi with extra steps. And that's when this quote just completely changed the game. Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, saw that his company's future and the very principles of DeFi were on the line. So he went public and basically nuked the very bill he had spent millions of dollars lobbying for. He made the call. The price for this kind of clarity was just way too high. But here's the thing. Not everyone was on the same page. This whole thing basically kicked off a crypto civil war. On one side, you had the purists, like Coinbase, who were saying, hey, our principles matter more than some flawed compromise. But on the other side were the pragmatists, like Ripple, who were so beat down by years of lawsuits that they were basically saying any bill, even a really bad one, is better than this endless uncertainty. In the end, the purist won. The bill died. Okay, so that's the story on the US side, a huge, loud fight that ended in, nothing, a stalemate. But that brings us to the second front of this war. Because while all that political drama was unfolding, something much quieter, and you could argue much more important, was happening on a global scale. This is the war on privacy. It's called CARF, which stands for the Crypto Asset Reporting Framework. And look, if this is the first time you're hearing about it, you really need to pay attention. It's a new global standard. Think of it as an automatic data sharing pact, but for crypto. It forces exchanges, brokers, basically anyone providing a crypto service to collect all of your transaction data and then automatically share it with tax agencies all over the planet. So what does this actually look like for you? It's pretty straightforward and not in a good way. It works in 4 steps. 1, you use a centralized platform. 2, that platform collects your data through KYC and tracks your transactions. 3, they report all that info to your local government. And 4, this is the big one, your government then automatically shares that data with other governments all around the world. And look, don't for a second think this is just some idea being floated around. No way. This is happening right now. As you can see, 48 jurisdictions, we're talking the entire European Union, the UK, and many others, are already signed up and committed. The data collection is set to begin on January 1st, 2026. Of course, governments are going to tell you this is all about stopping criminals and making sure people pay their taxes. And okay, fair enough. But for you, for the average person, the risks here are massive. We're talking about the total loss of financial privacy, the creation of a global surveillance network for your transactions, and the very real possibility of data errors that could be a nightmare to try and fix. All right, so let's tie these 2 threads together, right? We've got this failed regulation fight in the US on one side and this successful global surveillance plan on the other. So what does that actually mean for you, the person holding crypto? Well, it creates a very, very clear dilemma. What this all boils down to is that there are now basically 2 roads you can go down in crypto. First, there's the regulated path. You use centralized exchanges, they're easy, they feel familiar, but the price you pay is full surveillance under CARF. Then there's the decentralized path. This gives you self-custody, privacy, freedom, but let's be honest, it's way more complex and you need some technical chops. This is the choice every single crypto user is now facing. And that's really the wild irony of where we are right now. The US crypto industry fought tooth and nail for clear rules and ended up with nothing, just a big regulatory vacuum. But while that huge, loud fight was happening, the rest of the world quietly built and switched on a global system for financial surveillance. Which leaves us with one last, kind of uncomfortable question to chew on. With global tracking systems like CARF becoming the default, and with the core ideas of DeFi under attack, is this technology, a technology born out of a desire for privacy and freedom from the old system, slowly but surely being twisted into a more efficient version of that exact same system? That's the question at the very heart of crypto's 2-front war.